Avoid the lottery of FIFA points. Head over to u7bike.com. Use the code TVM at checkout for a 5% off. What is going on, guys? TVM here. Welcome back to another video. These seem to be going down quite well, so I thought what I would do is we'll do a couple of themed ones, okay? So we're going to look at players not in FIFA 20 because they are without clubs. Not because they've retired or because the league isn't in the game, just because they don't play for anyone right now. And you're thinking, hang on, Iron Robin retired, why is he on the thumbnail? We'll get to that, but first we have to go through a whole host of names that you may or may not recognise. Up first is Sacco, formerly of Crystal Palace. I don't know if Crystal Palace were the team that released him, but I think I've not changed his rating, and I'm not going to go back and do it now. Obviously, being 71, he wouldn't be a gold card, but there is no silver FIFA 20 card concept, so I can't... well, not a good-looking one anyway, so I can't use that. But either way, Sacco is the first player no longer in the game. Freddie Guarin, I've mentioned this guy before in a previous episode where we had far less players than this. I'm going big and better. And Freddie Guarin has left his club in China. Whether he'll join another one remains to be seen. But the problem with FIFA and EA in general is that if they're not in the game when the game ships, which will be very, very soon, if not already, because it's out in, 20-something days? The early access drops in 19 days or 18 days. Then, yeah, they won't be added to the game. Lazar Markovic, formerly of Liverpool, has been released by Liverpool and not picked up by anyone. This is a bit of a surprise to me because when watching him for Liverpool, whether it be under 23s games or friendlies or anything like that, he's actually been quite good. His temperament is a little bit the here or there, and he's a little bit inconsistent, but he does have some real talent, and I think that a lower league team should definitely be picking him up, but at the moment without a club. Fernando Llorente, formerly of Spurs, this is an interesting one as well because I honestly think he could still do a job as a super sub for a I wouldn't say, I don't know, maybe a Premier League team, but someone sort of more suited to his, like, I don't know, the Italian league or the Spanish league or something, with its slightly slower pace so he can get away with being unbelievably slow. But he's getting on a bit now, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just announced his retirement. I think he's getting on a bit. I've taken a bit of a guess there. Up next is Honda. Remember this guy? He had a League SBC card in FIFA 19 because he played in Australia for Melbourne, I believe. They've obviously released him now. Actually had an alright card. I mean, 80 passing, 81 dribbling, and he's just, without a club. It's mad how players like this can be semi-decent and just not have a club. Like, you'd think someone would pick him up, but as of yet, nothing. Moving on to a guy that I'd rather not mention at all, really, because he's a bit of a scumbag. No word of a lie. But personal life aside, again, Simpson, formerly of Leicester, I think you could probably say that he could play in a lower tier team. Maybe, I think he's been linked heavily to the MLS, so maybe he'll go over there and, cause some mayhem over there. But we'll have to wait and see. Next guy, can't pronounce it, Sauceta, something of that nature. An 80 rated card, this. 84 passing, 83 dribbling. This isn't something that I've made up. These are the stats that they have in FIFA 19 currently. And, of course, he is without a club. Released by Atletico Bilbao, I think. Which is an interesting one. You'd think someone of this nature would maybe command a couple of quid transfer fee related, but apparently not. Moving on to a player that I'd be very surprised if no one picks this guy up. He's a very good player. Manuel Fernandez, formerly of Lokomotiv Moscow, I believe. I'm going off memory here. I do apologise if I got that wrong. However, again, I would be very surprised if he didn't go back to Portugal or something, maybe started playing for, I don't know, Porto or Sporting or wherever he used to play for, maybe go back there, or even a lower Portuguese team. You'd think someone would pick him up. He's actually a very, very good player. Speaking of a very good player, this guy ruined his own career. Jonathan Soriano used to play for Red Bull Salzburg, and he used to tear that league up every single season. Then he decided, I want more money, I'll move to China. So he moved to China, it didn't work out for him, and they've released him, and now all of a sudden, Mr. Soriano is without a job, and he's only really got himself to blame. It's sad to see, but he should have just stayed where he was. He was banging them in season after season. Not many people will care apart from me. Joe Ledley was part of the Wales Euro campaign a few years ago, and just an all-round top bloke. But unfortunately, he's getting on a bit. B, his quality is somewhat let him down recently as well. So I would not be surprised if he just hung up his boots and just went to the pub, really. Next one, this is quite sad. Abate, formerly of Milan. He's been released and without a club right now. And do you remember this guy back 2 or 3, 4 FIFAs ago? Even last year, I think they gave him some sort of premium SBC. Super fast. Very, very good in defence. Just one of those go-to right-backs you'd always pick up. This is going to be the first FIFA that Abate has not been in since FIFA 10. FIFA 09, which is when Ultimate Team started. So yeah, then I think he's been in every FIFA since then, and he's been a great player ever since then as well. Speaking of great players, Wilfred Boney hasn't been one of those for a while. He's been trading with Newport County recently. I don't think he's got any intention of signing with them. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't sign with someone though, because obviously he's training with clubs. So you think that he doesn't want to retire, otherwise he would have done it already. There are some real, I'm just looking ahead to see what's next, and there are some really big names coming up. And I say big names in terms of FIFA especially, but Wilfred Boney without a club right now, who will he join? Let me know in the comments. Up next is the biggest name so far, Hatem Ben Arfa. I'll be so sad if this guy isn't in FIFA 20, especially as the game is a little bit slower now, so skills might be a bit better, but you can't change skill moves anymore. So maybe that's why. Maybe like, do you know what? You can't change skills in FIFA. There's no point in me playing. I'm out. Maybe that's what it was all about, although I doubt it. But he was released by, was it Stade Rennais who released him? I'm not quite sure who he played for. I'd have to go look it up. But yeah, either way, he is not with a club right now, so unfortunately not in the game. Josh McEachran is another one of those that he showed a lot of promise 3 or 4 FIFAs ago, maybe even further than that, actually, FIFA 13. I used to play with his silver card, FIFA 14 in particular. He had a silver card. I used to like using the sort of English silvers for some reason. I used to build a team with him in all the time. He's actually a very good passer of the ball. But without a club right now, as is Michel Vorm. Those of you who did the League SBC method through FIFA 19 will be very much aware of Michel Vorm's usability. Is that the right word? Only for building squads, though. He was a very cheap option in that Tottenham team. Well, he ain't no more because he doesn't play for them. They've released him. And again, I'll be surprised if he doesn't go back to Holland. Someone like Groningen or something could pick him up. Who knows? Moving on to Jack Rodwell. Am I surprised? No. I think he had a stint at Blackburn last season. I don't know whether he was still contracted to Sunderland or whether they let him go years ago. I don't really follow the career of Jack Rodwell or Sunderland Football Club for that matter. However, he's not in the game anymore. He was tipped to be this big thing. Remember when he signed for City? I said then, and I still stand by it, they only signed him because he was English and they needed the numbers for European qualification. Jedinak, I think he used to play for Crystal Palace, am I right? Was he the captain at one point as well? Either way, he's on his way out. Well, he's gone. They've let him go, and he's obviously without a club. I don't know about this one. Maybe he'll go back to Australia. I'm hoping that's the Australian flag, not the New Zealand. I do apologise if I've offended anyone, but maybe all players tend to go back home, don't they? Apart from Welsh players. They all tend to go back home. Lewis Holtby was that big player 3 or 4 years ago that many people were predicting to be the next big German thing, and it never really happened. I think one of his parents are English, so he speaks perfect English and German, which is quite a feat. I find people who can speak 2 languages, like myself, very impressive. So Lewis Holtby, unfortunately, without a club, and I don't know what's going to happen to him. Maybe he'll go to the second tier of German football, maybe a lower league, maybe, I don't know, someone like Union Berlin will pick him up. We'll have to wait and see. Mailer, obviously, has retired. He says that he's been plagued by too many injuries over his career. They've caught up with him, and he's hanging up his boots. But don't worry, because he can always fall back on pack openings, and that's pretty much what I'm sure he's going to do. Sad to see it, really, and I know he's not a gold card. I just upped it. I've upped every card apart from the very first one to 75, so it looked a little bit more realistic. But it's sad to see him go. Dumbia, can you believe we're about to say goodbye to Dumbia in FIFA? And I think he's like 32, 33, he might even be older than that. So the chances of him coming back, very, very slim, unless he can find a club within the next 25 minutes. I just don't see him being in any FIFA ever again, because I don't think he'll ever become an icon, which is a shame. So, if you're still playing FIFA 19 and you've got that flashback Dumbia, make the most of it, because that's pretty much all you're ever going to get to play with him ever again by the looks of things. And finally, Iron Robin. Didn't he retire? Well, yes, he did. However, he's doing a bit of a U-turn. He's linked with Groningen, actually, in the Dutch league. I'm probably saying that wrong, but either way. He's linked with a Dutch club, and he's seriously mulling it over as to whether he will come out of retirement to go play in the Dutch league. I would absolutely love to see it. The issue with this is that EA will not look favourably upon this, and they'll probably make him a 78 rated card because they are that way inclined. You'll have like 63 pace and he'll be a 70, 74 or 75 rated card. It's going to be embarrassing. But that is the list from top to bottom of players who will not be in FIFA 20 unless they can find a club pretty sharpish. I don't really see it happening though, because like I said, the game will have to be shipped very soon, if not already. When you think about how many stores and locations they have to actually ship to, it can only be a matter of days, if not too late already, before they actually ship the game. And there won't be a day one patch to add a player into the game as far as I'm aware. So unfortunately, if they don't join a club before then, they're out. There are a couple of other players here or there that aren't in the game. I think Osama Asaidi is one, but he wasn't in FIFA 19 either, and he still hasn't found a club, but he hasn't retired, which is really strange. But there are a couple of other players here or there that haven't found clubs yet, but I don't think they were that significant worth mentioning. I think Ben Gibson might be one of them as well. But I do have a couple more lists. We could do fully retired players. We could do, there's some transfer rumours floating around the place. There's loads of other things. But if you want to see something specific, let me know in the comment section down below what you'd like to see. If you have enjoyed this, smack the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and until the next time, goodbye.
Football Index. The game changed. Download the app now.